Hey friends, welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Oleg and this is one and only Mr. Bond. We do indeed like watches. Let's talk about the new model from Tudor. It's called Royal. Initially, I wasn't gonna make a video about this watch, but a lot of you guys actually messaged me asking me questions, what are my thoughts on this watch, and some details about the watch, so I decided, hey, why don't I make a video and summarize my thoughts in one place? What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna summarize the 5 things that you should know about this new Tudor model, and then by the end of the video, I'm gonna talk about my thoughts on the model, my reaction, so to speak. So let's begin with the 5 things you should know. Number 1, the release. The release of this watch wasn't traditional in any way. First of all, it wasn't released at a big trade show like a Baselworld or anything like that, and it was actually released back in July alongside with the Tudor Black Bay 58 in navy blue. I actually did a video about that watch. You can find it linked in the description below or somewhere on the YouTube channel. So why haven't you really heard anything about this watch until now? Well, basically the way they did this release, they released it first to the Asian market, and then now, end of September, they released it to the rest of the world. So why is this weird release schedule? That invited a lot of speculation. Some people said maybe they're smoothing out their production of this watch. They weren't ready to release it to the rest of the world. They didn't know if they're going to be able to make enough units. I don't think that's the case. Some people said they're testing out the market just to see how the market reacts. First just to the Asian release, and if the overall market feedback was positive, then they're going to announce it to the rest of the world. Maybe. My thinking is they probably didn't want to take any spotlight away from either one of these models. If they released both of them side by side for the whole world, even in the video that I made about the Tudor Black Bay 58, I would have to talk about both watches, and that kind of divides the conversation and splits the spotlight. So why compete with your own release if you can just release it a few months apart? Shine a spotlight on the new Tudor Black Bay 58 model, wait a couple of months, and then have another spotlight on this new Tudor Royal model. That's at least why I think they did it, but that's just my speculation. The other thing that you should know, the Tudor Royal is not a new model. I mean, it is, but it isn't. So basically this name is based on a 1950s model that Tudor used to have. It looks very different. It looks nothing like this watch, but they kind of brought it back. They changed the styling, they made it more modern. So it's not an entirely new model. It's more of a revival of an old and somewhat forgotten Tudor watch. The second thing you should know about this watch are the different options. So something that I really like about it, it comes in a few different size options. It comes in 4 different size options. So we have a 41mm model, a 38mm case, a 34mm case, and 28mm case. The 2 smaller cases are targeting women, that's very clear. The 2 larger cases, the 41 and 38, are probably targeting men and being kind of unisex. And these are probably the ones that you're going to be most interested in. On top of having various case sizes, the watch is also available in a few different color options, as well as stainless steel versus two-tone options. There's also a day-date option versus just the date option. There is the diamond dial option versus Roman numerals. So there's plenty of different watches to choose from. Out of the bunch, I think the one that's going to be the most popular is the 41mm day-date option with the blue dial and Roman numerals. That's just my prediction. I think that's going to be the hottest model out of the bunch. Now, as far as the styling goes, this watch is kind of a mix of a few different watches. It's kind of a mix of a Rolex Oyster Quartz and a Rolex President day-date. The dial has that day-date aesthetic, the Roman numerals, of course the day-date on the dial. Now the case and the bezel kind of reminiscent of the 1970s Rolex Oyster Quartz, and in general the design of this watch is very reminiscent of 1970s watches with the fluted bezel, the integrated bracelet, especially these two-tone options, they look straight out of 70s. Number 3, the price. So the price varies of course on the different size of the case, the difference between two-tone and stainless steel version, and there's also a difference between a diamond dial versus just a plain dial with Roman numerals. So the prices for 41mm version, that's probably the one that's going to be the most popular among men, starts from $2,325 and goes all the way up to $3,350. Not too bad. In fact, it's a very reasonable price. The 38mm version starts at $2,250 and goes all the way up to $3,300. Again, a very reasonable price for these watches. Now, why is that? Well, that brings us to the point number 4, the specs. The watch has 100 meters of water resistance, a sapphire crystal, a day-date complication or a date complication, integrated bracelet, stainless steel case or a stainless steel and gold variation of a case, and an ETA movement. So this one has an ETA 2834 automatic movement. Not a bad movement by any means, but a movement that's not an in-house Tudor movement. It doesn't have 70 hours of power reserve like Tudor in-house movements. And that's why these watches are more affordable. In-house movements are great, and Tudor in-house movement is fantastic. But it's a little bit overrated. In-house movements in general are overrated, and they're kind of put on this pedestal that some of them don't really deserve. So in my opinion, going with the ETA movement for a watch like this and having it be under $3,500 is fantastic. And if you choose to go for the stainless steel model without all those diamonds on the dial, it's under $2,500, which is pretty fantastic for a Tudor sports model. Which brings us to the point number 5, the future of Tudor. What does this release, what does this model mean for the future of Tudor? Now, of course, all of this is speculation, but I think this is a very good sign. First of all, the reaction to this watch has been mixed. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think a lot of that has to do with the design of the watch. But from what I've seen, the reaction seems to be a little bit more on the positive side than the negative side, especially because of that price point. And Tudor really needs a model like this. There is pre-Black Bay Tudor and there is post-Black Bay Tudor. The post-Black Bay Tudor is the one that most watch enthusiasts associate Tudor with. But Tudor doesn't want to be this one-trick pony, so to speak. They want to have a nice range of models that are very popular. And don't get me wrong, beside the Tudor Black Bay 58, there are still a few other popular models, like for example, Pelagos is a fantastic diver watch, but Tudor Pelagos is another diver watch, so they really needed a different model in a different field, in a different style, to really excite people, to really bring some enthusiasm and some attention to the brand. And I think that's what they did with this model here. I think a lot of younger people especially are very attracted to this model because of the price, because of its styling, because of its out-of-the-box thinking. Tudor Royal probably will be that introductory watch that a lot of people get, a lot of younger people get when they first get into watches and want to buy a more expensive timepiece. I think this one here is going to be the popular one. I think this one here is going to be the one that a lot of people buy as their first luxury watch. Now, what are my thoughts on this release and on this model? I quite like it, although I don't love it. I think it's a pretty good looking watch, but I'm not entirely convinced. Let's put it that way. Maybe after I try it on, maybe after I wear the watch on my wrist, I'll change my mind. As it is right now, I think it's pretty cool, good looking watch, just isn't for me. But hey, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? What do you think about this new release? What do you think about this new model? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We release new videos every week. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. By the way, today on my wrist, I'm wearing my Tudor Black Bay 58. I did a full review of this watch. That video can be found on the YouTube channel. I will also leave it linked in the description below. Also, in the description below, there are a couple of other links. The first link is a secret link. Have a look if you're curious. The second link is a link to bondnatostraps.com if you're looking for a great quality NATO strap and want to support this YouTube channel at the same time. Buying one of these NATO straps is a great way to do so. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Thank you for closing the windows. Good boy. Good boy. Here. Good boy. Okay, that's it. That's it.